Good morning, FYI family. Very good morning to each and every one of you. Good to have you guys here on the live and welcome back after the weekend. Welcome back after the weekend. Privileged to be here. Another week. It's Monday, folks. Believe it or not, it's Monday already. Monday already, and we have flown past the middle of the month, flown far past it. So that is already spent. All we have is what's in front of us and what we have to look forward to. It's a privilege to be here with you folks. Another Monday, folks, another week, another day. Good to see you, beautiful folks, as we say on the live. Good to have each and every one of us, each and every one of you with us this morning. Good to see you, fantastic folks. Welcome to another exciting edition of FYI for your information, folks. We got the stories that matter to you. We got the insights that inspire. And we got the facts that you need to start the day. Welcome again. We trust that you guys have had a great, big, fantastic weekend. And we hope the week has started well for each and every one of you. Welcome, guys. It's November 19th, 2024. Believe it or not, I think the Latin phrase is Adonai Domini, in the year of our Lord. Good to see so many of you on the live this morning. Whether you are tuning in from the bustling streets of Georgetown, you're joining us from some serene village in the hinterland, or from across the globe, folks. You're in the diaspora. You know we love our diaspora folks. Welcome to our show. Welcome to your show. Y'all don't show up. Y'all don't show up, no pun intended there. It will not be the kind of broadcast. It could be. Good to have all of you here. Folks, this is Weird News meets analysis, and your voice counts. We look forward to your comments. We look forward to hearing from you folks. Oh, we're going to deep dive into some pressing issues this morning that shaping the nation, from the cost of living crunch. You all know once it's Monday, cost of living issues on the table. We have also Mr. Norton, Mr. Norton, the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, who was at Calcutta over the weekend, folks. We got all that for you, all that. We got some other updates we're going to fling your way. We got some insights we're going to share with you. And of course, we're going to be looking to see what you guys say in the comments there, because we can't do it without y'all in the comments. Grateful to have all of you here. Grab something. You're having some coffee this morning. You're having some tea. Whatever gets you guys going. Let us know what you're having. And let's start. It's your morning. It's not mine. It's our morning, folks. And we're grateful to be here with each and every one of you. Sharon and Coral and Lynette and Diane and Marcia. Good to have each and every one of you here with us this morning, folks. Good to have you folks here with us. As we get to it. How was the weekend at your end? Do let us know, folks. How did the weekend treat you, folks? June Cameron. June says, be outside. Good to have you there, June and Tessa. Brennan says he's having some ginger tea. I had some pineapple and ginger yesterday. Yeah, pineapple and ginger. Is that juice, drink? Beverage, pineapple and ginger. Okay. Ginger's been growing on me, you know. Us big people got to stick together. Ginger has been growing on me. Ever slightly, ever gently on my mind. Good to have each and every one of you. Karen Gittins, Bantu King, Krill Providence. We see you guys there. We see you guys there on the live. You all know how we say it. You all know how we say it in the vernacular. We on the live. Grace Noel, Elizabeth Howard, Karen Everett, Joanna Green. Good to see you there, Joanna Green, and the other folks joining us this morning. Good to have all of you on the live. The first 15 as we head into it. Anne-Marie Selby, Rena Marks, a couple of things we think you ought to know about. Right off the bat, go to the G20 meeting next door. You all know the G20, the meeting next door, folks. Yep, in Brazil. The G20, a group of nations, you know that bloc, they come together and they partner on a range of issues. Those same guys, well, they're meeting next door. And even though we're being made to understand, you look at the agenda items, they didn't plan to have the Russia-Ukraine war front and center, but that's kind of dominating. You got the incoming Trump administration expected to win, and that expected to win, and that's we'll be watching that on that side too. And then overnight, I know many of you have been following. Have you guys been following? Overnight, we saw some developments. Cherry and Beryl and Sharon, John Harding. Overnight, we saw some developments on this front too. They're telling us that as this is happening overnight, the Biden administration has authorized the lifting of some restrictions on Ukraine on their use of Western-made long-range weapons against military targets in Russia. Yep. So you could see in the coming days, coming hours, a further incursion into Russian territory by the Ukraine, as these long-range weapons have been now authorized. And this, they're telling us too, comes because we're seeing more and more North Korean soldiers, about 100,000, have gone to Russia to shore up the Russian forces. Putin thought that the fall of Ukraine would have happened over a weekend. It's more than a year now. Is it more than 2 years since they've been fighting? And Ukraine will not yield. So they're not borrowing forces. The Koreans, North Koreans, are now on the front lines there fighting. The pundits are telling us that may have influenced Washington's thinking in allowing Ukraine to use some of these, what they call long-range, Western-made long-range weapons against military targets in Russia. Yep, so things are escalating. Things are escalating there. And, even as that happens, we're hearing also that the U.S. calling on Beijing to use its influence in Pyongyang, that's North Korea, to try to de-escalate, or rather avoid escalating this further. Yeah, it's Pyongyang sending all of these 100,000 soldiers to the Russian defense. So we're watching that, folks. Those are some of the things, whether you like it or not, is going to shape things at our end. Because Ukraine, for instance, produces a lot of grain. And the more that becomes restricted in terms of exports, that affects a lot of things on the world market. Russia also produces a lot of oil. The longer this conflict goes on, you see a very volatile market out there happening currently. So these are some of the things we want to just throw at you. I will tell you that the G20 countries are meeting next door in Brazil starting today, starting tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, we're going to see that state visit commenced by Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. What mode are you in, folks? What mode are you in today? I had a great weekend. I hope it's the same for you guys. What kind of mode you folks are in? Modi's official state visit begins tomorrow and runs up until the 21st. It culminates with that address to the National Assembly, where I'm going to have a front row seat, believe it or not. That's the jewel hat I wear. I'm going to have a front row seat. And that's where we go. Where we go inside and protest with placards and so on. Where do we go at all? So that begins tomorrow, folks. The visit by Narendra Modi. And of course, all of this is coming on the heels and the cusp of this 2025 general and regional elections. Let me finish the sentence. All of these things leading up there, folks. Set pieces along that path, leading us there. And of course, them boys don't want to lose no elections. They would spend out everything. And are spending everything. We make an oil and gas. We make an oil in particular to ensure, at least try to ensure, they don't see the opposition benches. Right? But you can't fight the inevitable. You can't fight it. So we're watching that, folks. Among some of the other things we are going to be watching, Mr. Moody's posturings. We can be watching all that and listening, of course, to what he has to say. He's, I think, coming out of Nigeria. He had a state visit quite recently to Nigeria. We're catching up on some of that. And you all know, quite recently, since the PVP, since they've come back, one of the things we've been looking at, one of the things we've been gauging is all of those things that are so emblematic of any iteration of PVP governance. You see drugs, right? You see an uptick in crime, period. Drive-by shootings, abductions. But we've had a number of the latter quite recently. And Crime Chief Wendell Blanham says that they have intelligence that could help with some recent abductions. They have intelligence. Well, I would just wish they would go ahead and use it. Right? Go ahead and use this information. Of course, they're talking about, they're trying to locate Joshua David. They're trying to locate Delon Alexander, who they're hoping are still alive. It's the kind of mixed messages too. That's another component of this discussion that we've been having from the Guyana Police Force. Because one time you're hearing they've hit a dead end, and the next time they're telling us what they're telling us this morning, that they have evidence that could lead. Well, I think we're going to use the evidence. Could we? Could we use the evidence already? So we're watching some of that, folks. And then overnight, this saw the headline. We saw chainsaw operator found dead. No easy day, folks, at this end. Chainsaw operator found dead. Yeah, there's a lot of what you see too. And so this is currently under police investigation. They're telling us 4 suspects taken into custody. The motionless body of a chainsaw operator was discovered in the wee hours of Sunday morning, moments after a brawl in Suzdijk. This is 40-year-old Devanan Hosea of Forest Hill squatted area, Linden Suzdijk Highway. He was in a brawl earlier. And this happens a lot, it's apparent, along the Linden Suzdijk Highway. I don't know if we can see an outpost closer to this section here. A lot of brawling at bars and fights that result in deaths. Maybe it'll come after a visit of your Penali. We know you went to Lenora Market quite recently. Next day, next week, we see police patrol beefing up in that area there. I saw Albion Market, another robbery overnight. Another robbery at Albion. Albion Market might faster get some police attention than this squatting area along the Linden Suzdijk Highway. Right? This is again Forest Hill squatting area where Mr. Hosea was found. Devanan Hosea. I don't know about you, but I never like anything that impedes my judgment and thinking. It seems to happen a lot in this kind of bar setting. Somebody says something, somebody takes it the wrong way, tempers flare, and then somebody ends up badly injured or worse, like Devanan Hosea ended up. So these are just a snapshot of some of the stuff happening over the weekend. And then we did see last week, when we heard again Crime Chief Wendell Blanham and some of those numbers, we did see them talking about an increase in rape. That jumped out at me. Scores upon scores upon scores of incidents of rape in this country. We got about 17 of us here. Why do we have all of these incidents of rape? It's quite alarming to me. It's quite alarming. And what is most alarming is when the authorities don't take this seriously. That's quite an alarming, another aspect of this. Very, very alarming. And here is one letter right in today's newspaper talking about a family member who was sexually assaulted but is getting no justice. A heavy heart, the letter writer says. The person has, after discovering one of my family members has been raped, I feel compelled to share my pain and frustration. Though I never imagined I would find myself in this position, sadly, this news doesn't surprise me. For some time now, I've been warning her of the dangers of Guyana, but she dismisses my concerns, believing that she was safe. It's devastating that my fears were not unfounded. What hurts me is the harsh reality that justice is virtually unattainable for victims in Guyana. This is a family member writing this in today's press. In a country where only the elites seem to receive protection, the police are more interested in collecting, than in the service of justice. And collecting what? The victim may go to the police, but I don't believe it will lead anywhere. The legal system is designed to wear the victim down. Cases are postponed indefinitely, and the victim is left exhausted, eventually giving up. This is a family member of a victim talking here in today's press. And the incidence of rape in this country, by the statistics provided by the Guyana Police Force last week, seem to be inching upwards. As we move along. So those are some of the things we think ought to have your attention this morning, and you guys can read the rest of this article in, of course, Starbuck News. How the cost of living treating you folks this morning? How is the cost of living treating you guys? I'll give you guys a snapshot. This iteration of Starbuck News, a column on the subject matter. How the cost of living on you? How is the cost of living affecting you? Today's iteration of this column, they're in the community of Virginugen, Vege. Rassiman said, tight in Virginugen. Good to have you on the line this morning. Oret Bentic, Yvette Moore, Sean of Fortune, Rohan Basantram. Good to have you. Harun Mohammed is on the line this morning. We welcome you, whichever political party you belong to. We welcome. You're pro-PVP. Fair enough. That's your democratic right. You're pro-PNC, WPA, AFC. We welcome all. We welcome all. You won't find a harsh reception here. Maybe 1 or 2 times. Well, good morning. You catch us at a good time. You catch us in the morning. You catch us a little more laid back. We can't promise anything in the nights, though. Yvette and all the other folks who are joining us this morning, it's a privilege to have you. There's Albert on the line this morning. There's how the cost of living affecting you. Lyndon Gill, Sebastian Orilal, one of the hardest working activists you got out of Region 6. Good to have Sebastian on the line this morning. And at Cummins, we see you there as well. How is Monday morning treating you folks? How was the weather? How was the weekend? I had a fantastic weekend. Got in some laps in the National Park. I did 5 laps. A little bit of running, a little bit of walking. A little bit of running, a little bit of walking. Had an interesting situation a couple of days last weekend. Not this one gone, the previous one. I never like if you go in the park and so on to exercise, especially park or gym, and people want to engage in some long conversations. You see people moving along, say hello, say right, and move along too. Move along too. And people see you trying to break a sweat and they want to hold you down. I'm not talking about me. People in general. You know, people come talk for. I won't go back home. You know, where y'all running from your house? People come and stand up. Well dressed, you know, tracksuit and so on, headband and this and that. Stand up, somebody gab them out for hour and they gone back home. Right? They gone back home. Right? Gone back home. You know, but you get to know people when you're in the park. You know, you pass somebody 500 times and raise your hand, and that might become a face you see all the time. So I was in the park the other day doing my walk run routine. I said hello to a fella. Can't remember seeing him before in the park. He said hello and stepped over. I could pace with you. I said, well, it's a free world. Pace along. You know, pull out my earphone to hear what you say. Pace along. And putting back my earphone, I kept going. Then he pulled up alongside me. And I could see him talking. My headphones are in. So I pull it out again. He said, I don't really like disturbing people when they're exercising. Guess what I'm thinking? Guess what I'm thinking? I don't really like disturbing people when exercising. I said, Chief, I walk and I run. Right? You do your thing. Putting back my headphone. I walk and I run. You do your thing. Right? And I was just approaching that spot where I usually run. Right? Just approaching. I say I walk and I run. You do your thing, my brother. Right? And I didn't even know what ever happened to him. But as I was coming around back, one of the folks who I know used the path and, you know, we say hello. He said, I saw the fella approach you. When I came around back, it's a mile, it's just over a mile around the national park. Just a little over a mile. He pulled me over. He slowed down as matter. I was about to pass him. He said, I saw the fella approach you. He looked a little shifty. I want you to know, I got your back. That's what my brother said. I want you to know, I got your back. I saw him. I saw him pull out your earpiece and he said something to you. And then he started coming behind you. I got your back. I'm grateful for some folks who got your back this morning. Some folks got your back in this car. It's a living thing, you know. Some folks got your back. This car is a living thing. If you don't have some folks like Naomi and Margaret, you know, can sell a little remittances here and there for brace you. We're going to be in trouble, you know. Folks in Virgin, Vega, like folks all over this country. Things rough and tough. Things rough and tough. I want to pull out some of the issues. And you're free to go and read this in Sabbath News if you subscribe. If you subscribe. We subscribe to Sabbath News. Yeah, the people have reporters to pay, pull this information together. We subscribe to Sabbath News. We not always able to get out there and get to us one of the news stands, even though that's our preferred way. Like to feel a paper in your hand and boxing through that paper. But we subscribe to it, you know. Some people like everything for free, you know. Some people like everything for free. Interesting. We were running through some of the apps we use here to help us curate and distill the information. Right? Distill the information. And I saw yearly some of these subscription costing us Brace yourself a little bit. Yearly, right? But 1,000 US, 1,200 US. And start looking through the list now. All right, we really need you. Let's show this. We need you. Let's show. I didn't realize a little $5 here, a little $2, sir, a $10 over there. Those things add up. The people, what, 1,300 US in apps? You need that. I need it so far. We ain't gonna give up with cyber news though, because this information is so important. It gives you a snapshot. People ain't like them at all. Anything giving people credible, valid information, people don't like. So you don't like Pinayla. The Sabbath news every Monday. This is the 102nd, 102, 100 plus 2 articles. So you have a good sense of what's happening. And unlike the people, they're only in some communities. They have a good SWAT of communities, voices and views, ethnicities, right? Economic backgrounds here. And some of this is interesting, folks. When you go a little deeper, some of it is interesting. Prices for essential goods, groceries, utilities, increasing, while salaries and pensions remain stagnant. That's what we're pulling out. When you drill down, when you deep dive in the information, that's what we see. That's our reading of this. Essential goods going up. Your oil, cooking oil, rice, sugar, vegetables in the marketplace going up all the time. Salaries, pension, problems. Pensioners are hit very hard in this country because it's a fixed income, quote unquote income. It's a fixed income you have there. You can't work hard on anything. You can't ask a raise. Then by next year, it's going to be 40,000. The closer you get to the election. Right? Another thing we see coming out in this information, based on the interviews folks at Virgin Nugent give to Sambok News. Cost of living, before I get there, government assistance, right, to pensioners and public assistance, insufficient to cover basic living expenses. We took a different approach this morning. Instead of just reading out some of the what the folks there said, this is what information telling us. Pensions, public assistance, in covering people's basic living expenses. In this country. Prices for specific items gone up sharply, making it difficult. Listen to this. Making it difficult to maintain previous consumption levels. It's not just that prices going up, brothers and sisters, is that the prices going up sharply. That's the difference. The prices are going up sharply. Right? Let me give you some of the takeaways, some of the information. This is the interview Sambok News did with folks at Virgin Nugent. Right? For instance, these prices going up sharply. A 2-liter bottle of oil, one person said, gone from 600 to 1,200. 600 to 1,200. A 10-pound cylinder of cooking gas, gone from 3,000 to 4,000. From 3,000 to 4,000. Sharp increase. And as I said, pensioners feeling the brunt of this high cost of living because they have this fixed income, quote unquote, and also healthcare costs. People feeling the strain. Feeling the strain. Bread gone from 360 to 460. Right. Adult Pampers from 1,400 to 1,860. People feeling the strain. And again, you got this fixed income. You know how people getting by? You know how people getting by? How people making up? Because of folks like you in the diaspora. Bracing them. Bracing us. Bracing us. I had a situation the other day. I had to call a family member. Bracing us. It's not bracing them in Virgin Nugent. It's wherever you live in this country. I see some people don't got to the plate. Cup, knife and fork. Waiting on the barrel. Frank Ranks. Waiting on the barrel. I drink this little black coffee. Waiting eagerly on the barrel. A little harm coming. Mind you, my aunt sent me a photograph. She said, I put in the bag you like. I put in the bag you like. Big shout out to my relatives there in the south. Elizabeth, Margaret, and others. She said, I put in the bag you like. So, girl, oh, look how you brace we here. So again, just pulling out, instead of reading the comments, the folks get this type of news, we're just pulling out some of it. So prices going up, I could imagine. You know, one woman, her husband is now well. Right? Once a month, twice a child. And the child, you wear Pampers, you wear Pampers too. The ebb and flow of life. I could imagine if your income fixed. Things go from $1,400 adult diapers, $1,400 to $1,860. Who cushioning that additional thing there? And then the other thing that's noteworthy here is the number of single parents. Is the number of single parents who are facing these difficulties of balancing childcare responsibility. Listen to this. Limited work opportunities and increasing costs. Balancing childcare responsibilities, limited working opportunities, and this increasing costs. That is the high cost of living in this country now. Baby formula, listen to this, has gone from 3,100 to 4,200. Baby formula, from 3,100 to 4,200. Listen to this, 10 kg bag of rice from Caribbean Rice. That's a good brand. From $1,700 to $2,300. Single parents, pensioners. Those are the two brackets heavily affected. Single parents. You got children to take care of. You got rent to cover. Utility bills, all of this people complain about. And increased prices. Yep. A plethora of complaints in these interviews with Sabuk News in Virgin Nugent. Stagnant wages and pensions, insufficient government assistance, and the disproportionate impact of the rising cost of living on vulnerable populations like single parents and the elderly. Believe it or not, these are the things affecting the residents of Virgin Nugent, and I dare say many communities across this country. Many communities across this country, people catching the tail. And there is no soft way to see it. There's no soft way to see it. So that's a pulse on what's happening there. Virgin Nugent, that's on the west side. And Virgin Nugent is a community surrounded by other communities. So that's not going to be just isolated to Virgin Nugent. That's you're going to find that in the whole stretch of Region 3 there. So good morning to the folks joining us from Vege, Virgin Nugent. Morning to those folks joining us from that side. Good morning to you guys. We did tell you, wonderful folks, that the leader of the opposition, leader of the PNCR, Aubrey Compton Norton, was in Calcutta over the weekend. They had a rally there at Calcutta. Beautiful rally, beautiful. In my Trump voice, it was beautiful. Beautiful rally there. And the leader of the opposition spoke to so many issues. We're going to just show you a little part of it. And we apologize to begin with the quality of the video. We apologize. I got to talk to them boys. We got to get it better. I got to talk to them boys. We got to get it better. Right? We must get better. We can't get worse. Must get better. I can talk to them. But I want to apologize. I think the content is so impactful. Wanted you guys to hear some of what the leader of the opposition, leader of the parliamentary opposition, leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Mr. Norton, said over the weekend there. Again, I say, he was at Calcutta. Take a look. Take a listen.
My friends, we are assembled here at a very critical time in the history of Guyana. You will hear many of them say we are the fastest growing economy in the world. What they don't tell you is friends, families, and favorites are thieving out most of the income from this fastest growing economy. Even as we boast of this fastest growing economy, you experiencing blackout. You know, every time I hear the name Barrett Jack Dale, one thing comes to my mind. Liar, the liar, king liar. This is a man who tries to tell the world that we add no power to the system between 2015 and 2020. Liar, the liar. We added power in many areas. In fact, electricity stabilized under us. And the 43 megawatts that they were boasting about was purchased by the APNU. They only receive it in government. But having received it, they continue to fail because they are incompetent. They did not purchase adequate generation power to satisfy the increase in demand. Though they were told And they saw in a report while we were in government that they needed to increase it at least 20 megawatts every year. Because we had a plan, we left it there. And if they wasn't as dumb as they are, they would have utilized it and we'd been in a much better position today. But you know, they can't use nothing. In fact, Jacques Deo had the temerity to say that all we do is studies. Let me tell this nincompoop that if you are going to run a country properly, you have to have studies to understand the problem, dissect it, and to understand what you need to do. And it's because the nincompoop had no studies, we end up with a useless skeleton. We end up with useless fiber optic cable under the ground. And so we must recognize that they are not there to govern this country and ensure the people of Guyana benefit. They are there for corruption. I saw him trying to defend the corruption. I have said this and I repeat it. I invite Barra Jack Dale, the Orphan Ali, and tell them put the resources they have, the property they have, the bank accounts they have against their income. And if it could show that they got this honestly, they cannot. In fact, a man said to me, you know, y'all got a terrible task. And I asked him what it is. He said, our task is a difficult task. And to achieve our objectives, we have to get rid of the People's Progressive Party. Because the first task we have is to make Guyana honest again. There is no honesty in this country as it relates to the government. I think they thief so much that they now believe everything is their own. But we have got to end it. They argue, when I said they're incompetent, that they aren't incompetent. But the evidence is there to suggest they're incompetent. We just talk about the blackout. Incompetence. How you could go to the National Assembly and say, I will give every household $200,000 instantaneously. He must be memorized the one, because you don't call them good. But the minute he finished saying that, the boss came behind and said, we can do it, little boy. It can take 5 months. And as the battle continues in the PPP, Irfan come out again and say you're getting it before the end of the year. I don't know which of the two fools to believe. That is a manifestation of their incompetence. I recall when they announced the 200,000 per household. I said to them, you need to define a household. We don't want you to do what you did during COVID. When you are in your strongholds, you give them based on household. And when you come to APNUFC strongholds, you then start to shout, you have to own the property. He has different strokes for different folks, but we're not accepting that. And now, the president said, we will start first with the pensioners and the public servants. And I see gone in the room only talking, but they're getting up names. And for the people who ain't got ID card, they can find some means of identifying them. They're into thieving again. That's all they know, comrade. They know how to thief. But when it comes to managing this country, they don't know. And therefore, we have to vote them out. Guyana cannot survive another year with the People's Progressive Party. And to vote them out, I want to repeat what Barrett Jack Dew said in 2015 when he lost. We need biometrics and a clean voters list. Now me says so, he says so. And then he starts to run from his own words. You know, the man even getting stupid. The man playing, what we mean by improved biometrics. You don't take the thumb. All we're saying, digitalize everything, ensure you have the database, and on election day, you're going to have a little machine like this in your hand. And when people put their thumb, if they would have voted already, they will be rejected. Because no two we got the same thumbprint. But he frightened her. He frightened her bad. Thief man like light. And that is light. And so we want biometrics. And we need a clean voters list, because if you give all of them ID card, who legal, who ain't illegal, it means when they put the thumb, it can show it's them. But they really ain't qualified to be on the list. So we want a clean voters list in which only the people who are entitled to vote are placed on that list. And we will fight for it. And we say there is a third thing we need. We need Claudette Singh to go her behind home. We want her to go home not because we have anything against her personally, but because she has made herself a tool, a poodle of the People's Progressive Party. And therefore, she cannot deliver free and fair elections. And so she must go. And you notice how I was saying it? Go. Because she must go in peace. We need to see the back of this woman. We cannot continue with an elections commission which is supposed to be impartial, and all she does is vote with the PPP. Clearly, you cannot have an independent and impartial Guyana Elections Commission headed by that woman. So, it is clear, it is very clear that she has to go.
Yeah, there you have it, folks. Leader of the opposition, leader of the PNCR, Mr. Aubrey. Compton Norton, the area there was Calcutta. They were in Region 5. Over the weekend, as you know, that part of that region there was flooded too. And that was one of the central areas, flooded over the weekend as well. But the folks went down there, met with the residents, listened to their concerns, and then in the evening there was that rally. Gotta go! Clean voters list. That's one of the things the parliamentary opposition has been very strong on, and pushing for a clean voters list. Nothing else will do, folks. Nothing else will do. So that's just some of the things we're following this morning. A couple of the things we're following. We got to have a clean voters list. Biometrics. Biometrics is another one. But those folks want to talk one thing one day, do something else the next day. 2015, they're hot under the collar for biometrics, hot under the collar for all those things. And I've heard Mr. Norton or someone in the parliamentary opposition say that I think it was Mr. Vincent Alexander, they've even gone further. They've even gone further than what the coalition government was calling for and asking for. And the little that you need, credible, valid results. You see, those are the things that they're shifting on. Shifting. So these are a couple of things we're following, folks, as we wrap up this morning. A couple of the things that we're looking at. And it's so great to have had all of you here. That's going to do it for us today. That's our time, folks. FYI family, that's my time. Remember, folks, every day is another chance for us to get informed, stay engaged, and of course, to make a difference, Naomi. Make a difference, Margaret, Elizabeth, and all you other wonderful folks who are joining us this morning. Avril and Enid Harris, the Texans in the house. London, or Lyndon. Another day, Sandra Hanover. To make a difference out there, folks. And you all know whether it's the big stories or the small moments, we're here to bring you guys the news that matters and the perspectives you can trust. That's our time this morning, folks. Before you guys run off, if you all found any value in today's show, don't keep it to yourselves. Share the love and share the live as well. Hit that like button for us. Share this broadcast. Tag a friend who needs to be part of our conversation here. And don't forget, folks, continue to follow us for all of your updates. Follow us on YouTube. You know, they tell us a large portion of the folks who join us on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, even though we're pushing now on 22,000 subscribers on YouTube. Those of you following us on one of our looking at us on one of our Facebook pages, like that page as well, so you know when we're on. Don't forget, folks, follow us with the updates, please and thank you. Catch us live every weekday morning. We're here, folks. We're here. And you all have been here. We gonna be put knitted someplace else. This is where we are, you know, busy in the fields doing something. So, folks, tomorrow's program, we're going to be looking to the Modi visit. What's the latest on that? The Prime Minister of India, as you know, is coming to Guyana, beginning tomorrow, right up until the 21st. We're in the pay period too. We're in that period there. We're in that month-end period there. You know, they pay a little early in November. Some of you heading off to the bank now to check. Maybe heading online to check. And we can be touching too on the latest developments out in GCOM tomorrow. And also failing infrastructural works. Some roads just completed, already caving in, already being undermined. We saw one over the weekend, Duncan Street and Sawpit Turn, Sisters Village on the west bank of Demerara. Yep. Those are some of the things we can be touching on tomorrow, breaking it down for you folks. And of course, we continue with the hottest political debates of the day of the week. And that's a discussion you don't want to miss. So as always, folks, you all stay sharp out there, stay strong, stay hopeful. Together, we're pushing for progress. Right? We're pushing for progress, folks. And we're pushing for truth too in all that we do. Let's go out there and make it a fantastic day. That's our time this morning. That's our program. This has been FYI for your information, where your morning starts right here. We're going to see you guys back here tomorrow. Candy and Marcia, Karen, Anthony Paris. I see Anthony says already subscribe. Y'all be like Auntie in the man. Be like Auntie in the man. Please and thank you. Carmen. Y'all be like Auntie in the Juliet Mickle. Rastaman, Sharon, McPherson. Go ahead and have a fantastic day. See you guys tomorrow. Stay safe.